Chances for a major New Jersey snowstorm are increasing this weekend. Oh, I put on the wrong hoodie. Not yet, but let's talk about yet. All right, first let's all just take a deep breath. There is still 4 to 5 days before the first flakes could fall from this snowstorm. And there's still a chance for drastic changes. This could very well still get suppressed to the south. However, I am now at about a 60% chance, given this, of it happening, of the actual major snowstorm happening this weekend. That means a 40% chance it could still be suppressed to the south. So let's talk a little bit about all this. But first, I'm a snow lover. I'm a weather enthusiast. I love to be buried by snowfall. However, I don't want to give the wrong message to those who this type of system affects negatively. I grew up most of my life observing snowstorms from a warm house. I'd go outside to play in the snow. That's even still how it is today, pretty much. However, I understand that most Office of Emergency Management personnel in the field, first responders, law enforcement, anybody who has to be outside to maintain critical public infrastructure, this is going to present hardship. So I want you to know that I support you. My page is open for direct messages. If any of you in that community have questions or just need to pick my brain while you're out there working, what's it going to do? How bad is it? How much worse is it going to get? Feel free to message me. For that emergency responder, utility, whatever community, my page is open for messages from you. If you're not in that community, please don't message me asking me how much snow is going to be on the left side of my deck versus the right side of my deck. I'm just not going to be able to get to that. This is going to be a balance of containing enthusiasm for the love of snow while also respecting the hardships that this may present to that emergency management personnel community. So yeah, shoot me a message if you need to at any time during that event. I'm here for you. Otherwise, let's move forward here. So the models today, they all came a little bit more into agreement on the major snowstorm. And let's look at the GFS that ran earlier today. Now, this is the earlier 12Z GFS that showed a south miss. And this is the GFS, and this is the most recent European model, right? So let's just look at that for a second. Now, you see this area here. This is an upper level low off the southwest U.S. It also exists here on the GFS. So GFS and Euro, right? Then you also have the main energy that's associated with this storm. That also exists on both. Now, as I rock forward on the GFS, that energy never really absorbs into the main system. It's still down here. Let me get the right tool here. It's still down here, which basically shears everything out, and it prevents a storm from being more north. And what that ultimately meant at the surface was a solution like this. See, that doesn't even come up. That maybe grazes Cape May with some snow showers at most. This piece of energy down here, as far as whether or not it fully absorbs in, like the Euro. See, here's the Euro. It fully absorbs in, and what that's able to do is make it dig a little bit further so that it carves this ridge out a little bit upstream. So you have a little bit more of a meridional signal in that area versus the GFS. I mean, look how flat the GFS is when I go to that same period here. GFS, Euro. Flat GFS, amped Euro, right? That's because the energy makes it into this storm trough. So I will be looking for that, because this is what the Canadian did. It's what the European did today. The UK met the ICON. almost every other model, did this, but the GFS did not earlier today. Now, fast forward to the most recent run of the GFS, which is going to be right here. More energy got into it. Now, in the case where that digs a little bit in the west and amps up the area here over Jersey, in that case, high pressure is allowed to get out in front of the precipitation shield so that the west side of that high has that southerly return flow, and that helps amp that little mini ridge and allows the storm to come north. The GFS keeps the high pressure right over top of it. And that's also, so it's a combination of how much of that upper level energy off the southwest U.S., sort of absorbs into the main storm trough, as well as the positioning of the high that's going to determine whether or not this comes up or down the coast. Now, the Canadian today, a lot like the European, but it went bonkers. It was like 15 to 18 plus for the entire state. Now, the Canadian does better with Arctic-driven systems historically. There's a higher verification rate this time of year when Arctic air is involved. And it makes sense. Arctic air is it's the backyard air of Canada. They handle that air much better than they handle, tropical air down here when you're tracking hurricanes and stuff. For that, absolutely a model like the Euro is better. But for this type of Arctic-driven pattern, you got to consider the Canadian, especially when it's back in the Euro. So here's the cold air, and first of all, here's this cool Earth view map. And the other day, I outlined the. I'll use white here to be easiest to see. I outlined, this ridge over the western U.S. and the trough, right? But what it does is it allows this air to filter in here, this air to filter in here, and come all the way down and over. I don't know if you remember the graphic I drew in the article from 2 days ago, but the air comes down and over. I drew the arrows on it, and of course this air here is the coldest air in the planet. It's pretty much the polar vortex coming down. And if we look at some model guidance, we'll go to 850 millibars, which is about 5,000 feet up. And we'll go to, let's walk through this week, first of all. Like, here's right now, right? Right now we have our baby appetizer high. It is cold as heck right now. It's 12 degrees in my house. Some areas might tap zero tonight. But then we moderate a little bit tomorrow and Wednesday. And then let's fast forward to Saturday. Saturday, you see this this front coming through Jersey right here. That's the pink stuff. That's the really cold stuff that's going to move into place Saturday and stick around with us for a very long time. It just reloads and reloads and reloads well into February. So we're looking at a very prolonged period of cold here starting Saturday. And that's what sets the stage for our Arctic snowstorm on Sunday into Monday and sets the stage for that prolonged cold period. So there has been some differences in timing on this system, which I would like to just talk about a little bit. This a couple days ago looked more like a Saturday morning start and a Sunday night finish, maybe a little bit into Monday morning. Now it's looking more like a late Saturday night start, possibly even early AM hours of Sunday when this thing gets going, lasting through most of Sunday and Monday. Some models even take it into Tuesday morning, but it's now looking generally more like a Sunday, Monday, both days, all day thing, from first flakes to when this tapers off at the end. I'm sure the timing will continue to evolve, and I'll report accordingly on it. So as far as our programming schedule, we would love to get a first call out on Thursday if things seem confident enough. But because this is now looking like an early Sunday morning start, we might do a first call Friday, an updated call Saturday, and then things begin Sunday morning. So we might be shifting a whole day to the right here as we watch this kind of continue to evolve. It's more important for us to be more accurate than it is to be first out. There's a lot of social media pages out there who want to post the most insane model first. And that's so 2013 severe NJ weather type stuff. It's much more important to be accurate right now. You want to talk first. We've been talking about this signal for almost 2 weeks in our premium areas. But now that we're actually looking at the surface data on the model outputs, it's more important to get this as right as possible for you. So yeah, that's where we are right now. 60% chance that a major snowstorm happens in New Jersey this weekend. It's never going to be 100% chance, but I suspect each day, if this data holds the status quo, those chances are going to increase, by about 10% each day. I will at least get an updated article out publicly tomorrow. And of course, we'll be doing model run by model run analysis in the Kaboom Club for anybody who wants to get really nerdy and know all the information as it's happening in real time. That's more what Kaboom Club's for. But otherwise, that info ultimately gets summarized into a forecast that everybody sees publicly. So join the Kaboom Club if you want to geek out with us. Otherwise, I will have an article out tomorrow. Everybody have a great rest of your Tuesday night, and please be safe.